So Brexit talks have ended yet again in a stalemate. You had a weekend of intense negotiations, and they failed to break that deadlock, leaving little hope or time for a resolution before a summit of EU leaders in Brussels this Wednesday. The meeting is one that they had hoped to use to finalize the divorce. Megan, what is your base case on Brexit now?
So I still think a hard Brexit is the most likely scenario, but the chances of a no deal have gone up significantly since the UK put out its checkers plan, where it kind of tried to have its cake and eat it too. I think we're all pretty obsessed with what the UK's position is in all of this because we're all reading the Anglo-Saxon press, but much more important is the EU's position on this. And I think, the EU's been really insistent on this backstop deal and on it not being temporary, and I think that's a piece of what caused the talks to break down over the weekend. So the border issue is central to all of this. Either there will need to be a border between Ireland and Northern Ireland, or there will need to be a border between Northern Ireland and Great Britain, or the UK will need to stay in the customs union and single market. Those are the only options, and none of those are acceptable to all the parties. What
I find really interesting, though, is it's obviously that kind of scenario not reflected in sterling. If you even look at the rate hike, the forwards, say for the cable rate, it feels like, it looks like the market is actually pricing in a rate hike from the BOE in 2019, meaning that they're not seeing that no deal or a crash out as happening. How unprepared is the economy and market for this?
Very. I would say it's also not my base case scenario, but it's in everybody's best interest to come up with some kind of deal, so everyone is assuming that they will, but it's not guaranteed. So, it's a higher probability now. It's certainly not more than 50%, but I think the markets are completely unprepared for that, as is the UK government, right? They haven't done any contingency planning really around things like medicine and flights. So at some point in these negotiations, October was the soft deadline that they self-imposed. They can miss that. That's no problem. They can go to November and have another EU summit. But at some point, they have to start planning for what happens if they don't get a deal.